Well, welcome back to the Marathon Mortgage Happy Hour. My name is Rory Farrell,
And my name is Mike Whitsack.
and today we have a special guest coming to us all the way from West Coast. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Rob Donahue. I'm a an old buddy of Rory's. We used to bartend, bus tables together back in the day. Rory gave me my first industry job in San Diego. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know that's how I started though too, and how I started at Bareback is we're gonna get to that too because it all ties in with you and your team and your company. So
Aha, very
yeah,
cool. Okay.
Yeah, this is nuts. So you guys knew each other. I mean, how long were you in San Diego before you met him?
I don't know. I moved to San Diego in 2007. When did you move there?
2007. So fast forward to like 2012 when I probably met you as a customer at the restaurant. And then I didn't start working there closer to, I feel like 2013, probably on your exit out of the
Yeah, it
state.
was like probably 1 year. We probably worked together for a year.
Maybe even a summer. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rob used to come in with his two buddies. I think you grew up with one of them and then went to
Correct.
college with the other one. And
Correct. Yep.
every Saturday or Sunday coming in for literally like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., mimosas, like breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, for
Four
real?
dollar bloodies. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
And they
my
used to
God.
hang out with me on my shift and great tippers,
Yep.
I will say that.
Yeah. We had
So
no
then
other
yeah.
expenses back then. We had all the money in the world,
My
right? To
God,
buy
I know. And no
$4 Bloody
responsibility.
Mary.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's
we fast forward to we also would go in and see Amanda, another waitress at the restaurant on Tuesday nights, who I was actually sharing with her that I was considering moving home or I was done with college, not quite sure the direction I wanted to go into. And she said, "We actually need a busser for the summer if you could help out." And that's
Whoa.
where it all began. Yeah.
it honestly starts, I mean, especially back then, it was so much more informal, but it started like that for me as well. I literally moved to San Diego, didn't have a job, didn't have a plan, didn't have any money, and
Mm-hmm.
I just went up and
Likewise.
down the street, every single restaurant, and PJ, who's the owner of the restaurant, was like, "We need someone to hand out flyers. You want to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I just literally was walking up and down the street handing out like coupons for Bareback, and that's how I
Wow.
started. And that's how I met Greg Cummings.
Greg Cummings. Okay, now refresh my memory on that because I truly don't remember.
So Greg he's the leader of your team, right?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Greg's the leader of his compass team. And he saw me handing out flyers. He's like, "Hey, is this your job?" I'm like, "I guess it is now." He's like, "I need someone to hand out flyers like door to door, like either listing flyers or, whatever." So I'm like, "Yeah, I can do it." And I think back then, I mean, anytime, but like people would just take those flyers often and just throw them in the garbage and then get paid
Of
for
course.
X amount of hours. So he saw that I
Uh-huh.
was actually doing it. And he's like,
Uh-huh.
"I need someone to do that for me." So I started doing that for him. I wasn't connected to the real estate industry or anything. I just was handing out flyers for him. And
Unbelievable.
then he
That
would
makes
come into Bareback and he was just like a PV local. So yeah, just he was one of the first people that I met in San Diego, like probably within a week or two of moving there to like just give me
Greg
just
would
an odd job.
that was so it was early days when you were in San Diego then.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Okay.
was like within the probably the first month, if I had to guess.
That's a great opportunity because Greg's just a nice, kind person and he'll encourage you to just get out there and do your best. Like he gives
Yeah,
you
he's
every source you need.
he was awesome. And I mean that's why I still remember him to this day. It was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I love it.
And
And
then when I saw you and your wife were on his team, I'm like, what are the
yeah,
odds?
yeah, and actually that's well, in a sense of where I really met my wife too, through Greg Cummings.
Okay.
Yeah, because Jamie was Greg's assistant at the time, and I was becoming, friendly with Greg through the real estate world, and that's ultimately how I was connected to Jamie.
All right, so let's talk about that. How did you jump from working at Bareback to working in real estate?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Right around the time you hired me at Bareback to bus tables, which was one of the best summers of my life, by the way. I didn't know it at the time, but what I would do to go back in time and be bussing tables at the beach. I felt a little lost. I had just worked so hard. I graduated from state. I had a degree in public admin with a minor in urban planning. And I was a young, naive kid. I thought I wanted to get out there and save the world. And I don't know, have either of you had any stint in the public sector at
Well,
all?
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me just, not to cut you off, but where did you graduate from?
San Diego State,
Okay, San Diego State. And what was it? Urban planning?
a minor in urban planning,
And what was
a
your
major
thing?
in public
Oh no,
admin.
Oh,
right.
yours was parks and recreation. So I'm thinking urban planning,
No.
parks, same kind of
His
thing.
was, his
Same.
was like way more.
Yeah, but his sounds much more
Parks and
mature.
Rec, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That I didn't know we had that in common.
Yeah, yeah. But yours is like more of an adult career. Mine was like, I want to hang out in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, Parks and Rec. Okay, so you weren't part of like the planning or
No,
anything.
not
Okay.
even close.
All right, gotcha. Yeah, no, I thought at the time when I was going to school, it was not trending, but it was a relatively new concept, right, of smart growth and all of that. And I had a brief stint in that gig, and I realized I hated it, and I would prefer to be bussing tables at Bareback than sitting behind a desk from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so through that restaurant, actually, I got reconnected with a an old buddy from Cape Cod. Fast forward to we went out and he introduced me to another gal from the Cape who I'd never met before, but I kind of like knew of her. And I was telling her that, some punk lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Do I go to grad school? Do I go back east? And she said, you should sit down and talk to my manager. And at the time, my very first brokerage, it was called Cantor Companies, local boutique brokerage, and they were essentially buying, this was like circa 2011 till I was at the end of it, 2014, 15. They were buying properties at the courthouse steps, flipping them and making 10 to 20% ROI on it. But they also invested in really other unique things too, like there was a project downtown in East Village, and it was an abandoned lot, and they invested into a beer garden and a dog park. So it was really cool things that kind of jazzed me and made me excited. And so just by a fluke of going out one night, long story short, I got connected to this guy, and I didn't even realize it at the time, but he was recruiting me to be a realtor, and I had no clue. I had no clue. I just thought what they were up to was really cool. And even at a younger age, I knew that I had to learn in order to be successful. And he was going to take me under his wing and teach me what he knew, and I was on board with that. And that all through Bareback, like all through my connections at that restaurant, I met my first mentor in real estate.
It's weird how those like sliding doors, like you think back on it now as a mid 30-year-old man in a career, and you're like, man, if I did this instead of that,
Right?
where would you wouldn't have a wife and two kids right now, probably.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, I think about it probably daily. Like, wow, thank God I went out that night and met these people because my life would not look like what it is today.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so funny. Think about
Yeah.
that.
There you go. Yeah.
10 years from
Yeah,
now.
exactly. And I was probably just a little bit older than you, Mike.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
lesson for you, man.
Yeah. If I would have stayed away from that Rory guy, I wouldn't be drinking as much.
Yeah, and it just I think to make it come full circle, it's just getting yourself out there, learning and putting yourself in front of people to gain knowledge and be successful in this business is crucial.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And
Yeah.
do you mainly focus like residential real estate? You do commercial real estate out in San Diego? Like what's your main primary, I guess, like focus?
Yeah, so only residential.
Okay.
I don't dabble at all in commercial. I know nothing about it to tell you the truth. And from my understanding, it's a very different career path, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, so I like the residential. It kind of gives me a reason to wake up in the morning and feel absolutely pumped about going to work. The commercial side gets like very numbers focused and very business focused. That's just not me. I'm not. I'd rather get out there in the field with people and
Yeah.
have fun and make people's dreams come true. Really, that's what it's
That's
all
I
awesome.
about.
think it's way less personal. There's less like empathy involved in the commercial
Yes.
business part of it. Whereas you're selling someone their future, like you're selling someone a house that they're going to raise their kids in and send their kids to school in that district. And So
Exactly.
it's way less personal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not getting jazzed about walking into a warehouse and
Yeah.
pricing out price per square foot versus helping someone find and then obtain their dream home, or at least, at the very least, stability for their family, which is probably the thing I want most for everybody.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I know we have some points we wanted to like touch on or talk
You're
about. And
special. We don't often have note
yeah,
or
this is
Yeah,
you're
I
probably
like
the
it.
fourth guest we've ever had notes for, if I'm
Come
being
on,
honest.
really?
Yeah, I mean it's a good thing though. It means Rory took time out of his day to write notes, so that's
Thank you,
anything
Rory.
cares.
Yeah.
He was hyped up to do this. So it says Rory wrote a note here in San Diego County, the average sales price $1 million. Did you Google? Is that like something down
yeah.
the line? Wow. And the average household income is $100,000. So like
Yeah, I think it's actually I checked this morning before we hopped on. I think we're up to for I separated them from SFR homes. We're at for December, we're at 1,050,000 for single family
Yeah, that
homes.
makes sense. Yeah.
And for condos and townhomes, a little bit lower, we're at 660.
wow.
Yeah.
So do you see like is it a lot more investors buying single family homes and renting them to people, or do you work with a lot of first time home buyers? Is it people selling homes and buying like downsizing and like kind of what are you seeing?
Good question. I think the investors are pretty squeezed out of our market right now. Uh, in terms of, what you're reading or watching in the media with the Blackstones, that I mean, that's more Sunbelt here in central coastal California. We don't have an abundance of investors that want to rent for long term. Investors are really after the turn and burn short term rentals, and that's only at the beach. But as you two know more than anyone, with investment rates at 8%, nobody in the universe is buying these homes right now as investments unless they have cash that they need to spend, right?
Yeah.
So majority of my buyer pool right now is, I'd say, a mix between first time home buyers and your move up buyers.
Wow.
All my friends that 5 to 7 years ago, I sold their condo, or they helped them purchase condos and townhomes, probably back then around 4 to 500,000 for your entry level, right? And today we're selling those between 7 and 8, and we're buying single family homes at between 1 million and 1, 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that makes sense to me because that's
Yeah,
similar
they have the
to
equity.
us too, right? It's like the appreciation in our market. I
Mhm.
mean, we're not as cool as Southern California, but we have like a crazy market around here. It's like very desirable,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
Bucks, Montgomery County, just outside of Philly. So we're seeing a lot of appreciation and a lot of wealth building and, flipping, not flipping the house, but buying it 3, 4, 5 years later, being able to use that to, transition to the next payment.
Yeah, to get to your
What about your
next.
first time home buyers? Like, where are they getting money?
Or
Because
are they older? Like do you like when I think of first time home buyer, I think of somebody my age, maybe like 27, 28. But you work with people in their mid 30s that are, I mean, obviously everything's different, but is
Yeah.
it more common to see older people that are first time buyers?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. When I'm referring to the first time home buyer 5, 7 years ago, they were your age, right? They're 26,
Yeah.
27, and you didn't need a lot of money. Like you could put 5% down with a 4% rate and you could afford a two-bedroom townhome.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, yeah, it's number one. It's kind of a mix between generational wealth, right? So you have mom and dad or grandpa giving you anywhere from 20 to 50% down payment on the home. Or you have, yeah, that's what, 250, 500 grand based on an average sales price, right? Of about $1 million. And then yeah, and then which is still a $6,000 monthly payment if
Yeah,
you
right. You get down to half a million, you're still have to pay on that other half a million as
were.
well.
Yeah, or really, like in Southern California, people make a tremendous amount of money too. You have even your first time home buyers as a couple, you're still making a minimum of 300 grand a year up to four or $500,000. That, you have to be making that much money to be able to afford a home that you want to, raise your
Yeah, yeah,
family.
absolutely.
it's funny. We had, I don't know if you know Tyler White, but he's also a realtor in San Diego.
Okay, I don't know
Also,
him. Wait,
yeah,
Tyler?
I bet you if you ran into each other, you would. He was a local at Bareback as well, another person that I knew from the restaurant.
Okay.
Um, and him and his wife are also realtors in San Diego.
Okay.
And he had the same exact answer. It's like generational wealth. Parents are pulling the equity from the property that they bought in 1970
Yes.
and helping with that and, being able to help their kids buy. But it's like, I
Hmm.
just didn't, we don't see it any other way happening. It's like crazy the
Well,
amount of,
there's no other way. I mean, how does anyone, and if you're a millennial, how are you, covering this eight to $12,000 monthly nut you have, and then also putting $500,000 down on this house at the same time?
yeah.
It's unless you're from, we don't have an abundance of tech. That was a kind of a COVID influx that came to Southern California. That's dwindled. So now we're back to generational wealth.
Yeah. That's wild.
It is
Uh,
wild. Yeah.
so of the list, I know you had a couple things that you were more excited to talk about than other things. Did you have anything that you specifically wanted to talk about on that list?
Yeah, I have it printed out here. Yeah, I think, one of the things you asked me about was working with my wife
All right.
and
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
yeah, that excited made me excited to talk about. I mean, I genuinely cannot fathom not being married to someone who works in real estate. It Our house, as much as we look for balance and peace, it's really important for us to find alignments in our week. We have to work really hard to make it work. I mean, as you know, the month of December is awesome because both of us have, we work very minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are so slow and life is good right now, but we're in the thick of a spring market and we're trying to prioritize our schedules and two kids now. It is really challenging, but we just try to remember that we're on the same team and we both have the same goal of, building a life for our children, really. So it's a hard chapter right now, but we share the same mindset.
So I imagine like sometimes you're picking up the family life and vice versa. She's picking up the work and, flip flop
Yeah.
here or there. Are there any
Yeah.
days or times of the week where you're like, hey, block on our schedule, this is family time? Or because obviously, typically, like a normal family, quote unquote, weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're not working,
Of
but that doesn't
course.
work for you guys.
No, it doesn't, and we've learned to really adapt to that schedule, and we love it. We kind of play hooky on Mondays.
Okay.
Saturday is just our day to make money. We're going out, we're going to appointments, showings, whatever we need to be doing. Sunday, we're balancing, right? Like we do try to one of us at least be home with the kids, and but Monday, everyone else is back to the work week while we're just out enjoying San Diego while it's slow. And we for a long time we tried to make Monday our day off, and it's gotten away over the months and I guess years. But we both share the mindset. Right now is the time. We get it why the going's good, and when it's not, we'll have plenty of time to relax.
Yeah, yeah, that's the we're as it's a roller coaster, right? This industry, yours and ours,
Yeah,
and it's when you're busy, you're stressed, and you're being like, how I'm not spending enough time with the kids, or I'm not spending enough time with the fiance, things like
hmm,
that. And then and you're stressed about that part, and then when it's slow,
yeah,
you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be so poor. I have no money. I have no income. It's like there's no like
absolutely,
the
yeah,
mental and the emotional managing of that is
absolutely,
heavy. And I know
yeah.
for
You
me,
yeah, you said it well.
because I know for me, like I have a similar income structure and schedule as
Hmm.
you do. Whereas my wife, Kelly, who you know, she's like quote unquote 9 to 5 normal. She's not 9 to 5. She's way more than that. But like we
Hmm.
kind of know when her meetings are. We know when her schedule is, and we
Right.
know that Saturdays and Sundays she's off. And you
Uh-huh.
know,
That's nice.
you know that she's not getting any work phone calls from December 23rd until January 4th because everyone kind of just shuts down.
And no
Um,
fire drills, right? Like you get a fire drill any day,
Always.
anytime. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I can't
Yeah.
imagine I like having one and the other because like there are times
Yeah.
where like, hey, if the kids have a doctor's appointment on a Tuesday at noon, I can make
Right.
that work. I can work
Right.
my schedule around it where hers is less flexible, and then vice versa.
Exactly.
Like, on the weekends, she's just like, hey, I'm around. I'm here for the kid stuff. If you need to go out and do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, geez, it's oh, hold on, I lost you here. Yeah, it's almost like I'm jealous of that in a way, but also would I trade the flexibility? I don't know. That's a big question mark.
Yeah.
Even yeah, it's hard. The putting I don't know if you experienced this or if you remember, but when it was just you and Kelly, it was all fun and games, right? Your schedules, it didn't matter how demanding it was or anything. And then once you put kids in the mix, a lot more pressure for your marriage, your work, and everything. It gets more challenging for sure.
No, for sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Happy to look forward to it.
Yeah, he just got engaged. He's getting married, hopefully sooner than later,
Yeah,
right?
whatever.
So, and I'm like, I'm like 15 years ahead of you with life stuff, and it's funny,
Yeah.
like the conversations that we have and how different we are, but also like how well we work together, and like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're very different, but we have a lot in common. Like we joke the same, so it's nice.
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm probably the same maturity level as you. He's more mature than he should be, and I'm less mature than I should be.
That happens. Well, yeah, like I said, 26 to 30 were like one of my favorite years in life. You just enjoy, especially the like engagement and everything. That's a fun time in life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can't say I'm having a bad time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not a little bit. Yeah.
Um, so I know
So
you, Gad.
I was going to say now, bringing that back about Jamie and I, the having us on the same, let's call it an alignment, right, in the house, and we understand the quirks of the business, but we don't actually. I don't want to say we don't work well together, but we choose not to work together day by day. I'm out in my office. It's my own little detached structure out in the yard here, and she is on the complete opposite corner of the house in her office. And we even talk to clients differently. She is a little more polished, more well-spoken than I am, right? I will, as I'm sure you can imagine. It's just not, I don't talk to people like that. I think part of my secret sauce in the business is giving people full transparency and, people want to talk to just a genuine person. So if I try to be something I'm not, it doesn't work for me,
Yeah.
right? So we don't actually work together day by day, which is awesome. We can go in the house at the end of the day, talk about our appointments and vent to each other or ask for advice, but we don't necessarily work the same clients.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. I would have thought there would have been some crossover there.
Very little. I think the only times ever is when she's been out on some brief maternity leave and she has no choice but to throw me in.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, we keep it pretty separate, which is nice.
That's good.
That's cool. And I'm
Yeah,
sure there's some like where you learn a little bit from her and she learns a little bit from you, and like you gotta like kind of take the
absolutely.
best parts of each one of each other and kind of utilize it, even if you kind of skew it the way that you would do it. But
Yeah, absolutely. It's always learning, which is so cool about this business. You never go to work a day, and I don't know about you two probably have to know more in the lending world because it's more predictable, but what we're up to, there's always something you can learn every single day. So you take every problem event and you just kind of build your knowledge off it.
yeah, I mean, we say it. I mean, even our boss, who the owner of the company has been doing it for 30 plus years, like he'll come to us and be like, what do you guys think about this? Or like, do you know about this? And like he'll be learning things
Hmm.
the same way we will throughout our career. It's like
Yeah.
we don't
Hmm.
have as many years in the business as he does, obviously, but it's
Right.
every day something different. And
Yeah,
guidelines change or different. We're a
exactly.
broker, so
Right.
like we have a bunch of different lenders that have different niche products, and so like things are always
Understood.
changing. And part of why I think technically like we're behind a desk, which is not.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm like you, like I can't just sit there and do it. But part of why I like it is because it is ever evolving and it is puzzle, putting together, and
Putting the point. Yeah,
it's not just like this
exactly.
stagnant thing where you're just like punching numbers every day.
Yeah. That's funny you use that expression, putting the pieces of the puzzles together. I'm just, going into Jamie and I when we try to buy a property and we're both 1099 contractors, where we have one lender who we work with that's like, you guys, come on.
Yeah.
When we start submitting our tax returns and and we're like, make it work. But I mean, it really is, yeah, you have a hard task. I mean, I'm sure your dream is straightforward W-2 employees, and then when you get your complicated 1099 trend tax returns, how do you feel? Like, do you have to shift the pieces around and dissect them a little bit?
I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
yeah, I mean, best case scenario, they're claiming everything on their, on their taxes,
Yeah,
and we know exactly what they're making. But we
yeah.
also, because we're a broker, we have, again, the different lenders with the different products under their portfolio. So like, and now a lot of like non-QM stuff's coming up where we have like statement programs or DSCR.
What's
Like there's
QM? You refresh me.
Yeah, non-qualified mortgage. So it's like it's basically like
Oh,
this the subprime stuff from like way back in the day.
lenders. Oh, wow, making a comeback.
But it's more, I would say it's more
It's
regulated now and more
yeah.
commonplace. It's
Mhm.
not
It's
like,
subprime with requirements.
yeah,
Like they're
Understood.
not just letting anybody go. If you're gonna do it, like a DSCR is a debt servicing coverage ratio loan. So like they'll look at the rents coming into the property, but if your credit's below 680 or you don't have 25% to put down, you're not getting it. It's not like, oh, you can have
Understood.
5 grand and no income and sure we'll give you the home. Like there's
Understood.
more
Okay.
requirements now.
yeah, it's
Okay.
just more creative ways to do it.
It's just a way to not when you have tax returns like that, it's a way to avoid looking at those tax returns and get the investment
Right. So
property.
you're
I
teetering into like a hard, not like a hard, but like a boutique lender. Is that
Kind of,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you would be a perfect example, right? So like, I mean, I not that you commit tax fraud, but like let's say
Yeah.
a 1099 person makes a
Yeah.
lot of money in real life, right? But they have all these
Right.
write-offs. But at the end of the
Of
day, they're
course.
making good money.
Right.
On paper, they don't qualify, but again, in real life, you're like, that's an easy payment for this guy to make.
Right. Exactly.
Then there's different ways to different loan programs that are available to put that person into a loan that you can confidently say they're going to make the payments on. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. I relate it to, similar with you two. If I go to a credit union, they probably are not going to give me a loan. If I go to a broker who can source a loan that works for what I'm up to, best case scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
it's a great transition to this. Like, as far as the people that you recommend, as far as mortgages are concerned, I'm sure you have some partners, maybe you have some in-houses. How did you build that relationship? Who do you recommend? Not who specifically, but why do you recommend them? Who do you recommend them? Do you have different lenders that you recommend different clients to?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like matching someone with a lender is like putting someone on a blind date, right?
Yeah.
More than, I mean, to me, it's not my money and I don't want to sound arrogant, but like having a great seamless experience and getting a property versus saving half a point on a loan and having it be a complete shit show and missing out on the property of your dreams. When we're talking about $1 million+ I'm not even considering $200 a month at that's point, right? Not that it's
Right.
even
Yeah.
that much. I mean, goal number one, and we're coming more into a neutral market, but for a while it is, I mean, you guys know 20 to 30, 40 offers on a property. So it had to be, you have to work with someone. So my analytical guys and who need, to be coached and talked through, I have one lender for. Someone who's all business, I have another lender for. And right now, a lot of my business is going to credit unions just because they seemingly have the best products to help our first-time home buyers get through the door.
Yeah. A lot of times those credit unions and small banks that lend their own money will have those products that
Unique.
they
Exactly.
underwrite themselves, they lend their own money, and they
Yeah,
have those unique like first-time home buyer products.
exactly. I mean, it's actually some of them are, you know, I don't have I wasn't in the real estate industry on the last downfall, but a lot of these products are arm loans that are incredible rates and they're allowing people to get into the door of home ownership. I know some people feel strongly against them. I'm a bit indifferent as long as they're used responsibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's seemingly right now who is yeah, being able to help people get through the door.
Yeah. We don't
Yeah.
honestly, Buzz, we don't see a lot of arms being used just because the difference between the 30-year fix and like let's say like a 7-year arm, like
Mhm.
the difference in rate isn't enough to take the risk of, hey, if
Ah,
rates start going up, you're kind of
mhm.
stuck in this arm, and or you got to
Right.
refinance at the higher rate
Mhm.
that you could
Right.
have got the 30-year fixed at 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So I think,
Yes.
especially with the uncertainty of where rates are going over the next couple of
Mhm.
years, at least
Mhm.
in our market, we're not seeing, I mean, the amount of arms that we do, probably less than 5%.
Wow.
Yeah, like almost none.
Low. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
But
I mean, I feel like another, but that's again like that is 9 to 5 service Monday through Friday. Some clients, I'm never going to suggest that because we need someone working nights and weekends, Saturdays, Sundays,
yeah,
anytime that. So it all really depends on the buyer type.
that's really important. I mean, you literally posted something today about like it was a Zillow review
Hmm.
that you had screenshotted and sent, and it basically said like Mike was great, yada yada. He had great rates, but more importantly, he answered the phone on nights, weekends. Like it
Mhm.
was a smooth, seamless process, and like
Mhm.
we're super competitive with like tangible rates and terms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Almost more importantly, we really pride ourselves on the intangible stuff. Like, I mean, he does, again, he's got a little less responsibilities and schedule than I
Yeah.
Mhm.
do, but he's I
Mhm.
mean, he's taking phone calls at 10 o'clock at night sometimes. I'm like, dude, you're out of
Wow.
your mind.
Yeah, I mean
You
that's incredible though. That's how you build your business right there. That's how they call you again, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
that's what I mean. That's he's had a killer year, like a
Hmm.
crazy growth year from the first couple of years in the business from 2025 January to 2025 December, probably your biggest growth, and it's not even close, and it's because of stuff like
Wow.
that, and it's
Yeah,
been fun for
absolutely.
me to watch that.
Yeah, that's
You would have
incredible.
asked me in April if I was going to be doing mortgages by the end of the year, I would have told you no.
I was talking him off the
Come
ledge every
on.
day.
Dude, it was brutal, man. The past couple years have been brutal for sure. But like
Yeah,
beginning of this year was tough. And thank God
unbelievable.
for
Good
Rory
for
and
you.
Tom.
Yeah, I love it, man. Good for you.
Yeah, no,
Like,
thank you.
like anything in life, right? Once you get your speed going and get your mojo up a little, like you can be unstoppable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Love that.
I know you got to go soon. Any other topic you want to just like quickly hit?
Let me think. No, I don't think so. I mean, I I have a line item here. Where do you find the most success in getting new business? And it's just coming back to what I was just talking about with you, Mike, when I was bussing tables at Bareback and trying to get, transitioning, get my foot in the door in real estate. I worked like a madman. I was working 80 hours a week, 40 at the restaurant and 40 I was
Wow.
prospecting. Yeah, I would hold an open house every single I would say 4 days a week on like my peak
Oh,
year and
yeah.
yeah, in terms of prospecting. And but I just got out there and hit the pavement and made my contacts. And now I think after working so hard for so many years, I'm now at like I'd say 50% of it is from Spear and past client referrals where I get the business. And then, every now and then some online leads or something like that. And if I get a listing, I do try and work the listing. And like Rory, we can't with kids, just impossible to be out there every weekend. But I do try and get out like once every other month or so at an open house and talking to people and
Yeah.
keeping that part of my business alive and not have it become super stagnant.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got one more question for you. I'll let you choose how you want to answer it or which one you want to
Sure.
answer. Either a win, like something you're psyched on. It could be business, it could be personal, it could be family, it could be whatever. So it could be a win or just one simple 2026 goal.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go with a win because I feel like just on a personal note, I'm where I want to be in life. My wife and I just had our second baby and we're just making it work. I feel like learning to navigate, being a full-time working professional and having a family. But my win for sure is just I feel like growing my family and having my family complete all at the same time. And yeah, just having the life I kind of always dreamed of.
It's awesome, man. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's more important than any, business win there is. So
absolutely. And it's all fun and games when you can work and make some money along the way, right?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Yeah.
awesome. All right, man. Well,
Cool.
I appreciate it. You said like you thought you would only have like 20 minutes worth of stuff to talk about. I think it's been like 40, so
40. Okay, I love it. Well, that's a good breaking point for me to go 1 o'clock, get a girl down for a nap. That's my
All
There you
right.
next
go.
Thank you,
do.
man. I appreciate it. Thanks for your
Okay,
time.
you're
I'll check in with
welcome.
you in a little bit, but we'll let you know when it gets
Cool.
all posted and tag you. And best of luck to you and the new kid and Jamie.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye guys.
All
Later,
right.
Rob.
Bye.